Hello, this is a demonstration video of MVP of Creata Chain KYT Module 2. I've also summarized the Module 1, which will be mentioned in this video later. In this module, we have a usual login facility, but as you can see, there is no registration facility, as this platform will be managed by the admin, and only the admin can enter or add the users. First of all, I'll log into the platform. I will enter the credentials, and then I'll be logged into the platform. The first screen that we are seeing is the dashboard screen. In dashboard, there are multiple cards with the different status that are successful, flagged, failed, rejected, and total transactions along with each of the numbers. There are 9 successful transactions in the blockchain. 2 of them are flagged. We haven't have any failed transaction. Rejected transactions are 3, and there are a total of 14 transactions that happened into our platform. Below is a transaction overview chart, which is by the filter of week, month, and year. It will show the number of transactions that occur in an year, in a month, or in a week. Risk overview diagram is basically a chart that shows how many transactions are at low risk, how many are at medium risk, and how many are at high risk. We have 64% of transactions that are at low risk, 14.29% are at medium risk, and 21.43% are at high risk. The latest transactions here shows the latest 5 transactions. We can see that there are 2 success, 1 is flagged, 1 is rejected, and the another is flagged. Successful transactions are the transactions that happened successfully without any issues. Flagged transactions are basically the transactions that occur on the blockchain, but the administrator or the admin has configured its settings so that this transaction should be done with medium risk. Such transactions fall into the flagged category. The failed transaction is the one which is failed over the network due to less balance, network congestion, or any other activity. Rejected transactions are those which are rejected due to the policy or the risk factor that has been calculated as we have implemented policies in our system. Depending upon those policies, the transactions can be rejected or accepted. Those policies decide the risk level that transactions can reach, that is medium, high, and low according to those policies we submit. Now, if we want to see all the transactions, we can do that, and all the transactions will be viewed like this. I want to see the detail, then I'll simply click on the transaction hash, and it'll show me the detail of the transaction. Now, what if I want to see the address and the transactions going from that specific address? As I discussed earlier, we have already merged the Module 1 MVP of KYT. If I click on this address, it'll take me to the tracer that we have created earlier. Now I want to see how many transactions have been happened from this address to the other address. Here you can see the tree, which is telling me the detailed information that from this address, this transaction has been made to this address and further. This is how the transaction tracer works here. We don't have the configuration facility now in this release, but in the next release, we will add the configuration factor, which will enable the admin to configure the transaction risk. Admin can add the users from the configuration. Admin can also set the risk factors and the flagged factors that will decide on which basis a transaction should be rejected. After this MVP, when we move to project launch, then we can mark these addresses. We can mark addresses in the blockchain blockchain as whitelist, graylist, and blacklist. The transaction will be accepted or rejected depending on those bases. We can also implement FATF or South Korean rule in the blockchain when we move our product to launch stage. This platform will help the blockchain organizations or the admins or the regulators control money laundering. They can see all the transactions and they can set the risk factor on the policies which will be implemented in the blockchain. It has been the overview of this platform from where you can see the successful, failed, and flagged transactions, the list of total transactions, the detail of each transaction, and the tree for each transaction through the tracer. In the next demonstration, I'll explain the configuration, such as how to configure the risk factors and how to whitelist or blacklist addresses. Then you will get to know how these transactions are being successful, flagged, rejected, or failed. Thank you so much.